The first thing anyone heard was the crack. Not a scream, not a shout, just that sharp, unmistakable sound of bone under pressure. It echoed in the reflex bay like a starter pistol, freezing every footstep mid-stride. Lieutenant Commander Dana Collins didn't flinch. She didn't blink. Her right arm hung limp in a black compression sling, the fracture line fresh, reopened. Across from her, Sergeant Rick Dalton stood dumbstruck. The wrist lock he'd just applied meant to humiliate, not train. But she didn't collapse. She just stood. And in that stillness, the tone of the entire base began to shift. The day after the incident, Fort Carson felt different. Colder. Quieter. In the mess hall, whispers moved faster than the coffee. Dana Collins had become something more than an instructor. She was a reckoning. Sergeant Dalton's story changed, depending on who asked. He called it a training mishap, said she didn't tap, but no one believed it, especially not those who'd seen her take down 3 Marines the day before, with one arm, no hesitation. In the equipment bay, a junior SEAL muttered, "She didn't fight them, she studied them." And in that sentence, the myth had already begun to form. Dana didn't speak about the injury. She didn't ask for medical clearance. Instead, at exactly 1841 hours, she submitted a request. Formal, cold, protocol-bound. Reflex bay, 2100 hours. No exemptions. No medical oversight. Commander Mark Tate read the request in silence. He'd seen what Dalton did, close enough to feel the shift in air. He approved it without a word. Across base, screens lit up. Mandatory attendance. Marines. SEALs. No one spoke about it, but everyone cleared their schedule. They weren't sure if it was retribution or correction, but one thing was certain. When someone schedules a demonstration after a break, it's not for show. At exactly 2100 hours, the reflex bay lights dimmed red. Sergeant Dalton stepped in first, flanked by his 3 Marines. None looked confident. From the upper gallery, Commander Tate watched silently, tablet in hand. The far door opened. Lieutenant Commander Collins entered, right arm locked in a tighter sling, boots silent on the rubber mat. No words. No ceremony. Tate's voice echoed from above. 1 round per contact. Clean protocol. The first Marine lunged. She dropped him like a sack of laundry. The second tried force. She redirected and swept. The third hesitated. She didn't. 3 down. Clean, fast. Then Dalton stepped forward. Dalton came in swinging. Fast, aggressive, fueled by pride and bruised ego. But Dana didn't resist head-on. She slipped low, redirected, used his own momentum to collapse his balance. He hit the mat hard, ribs pinned, shoulder locked, her right arm unmoved. Tate's voice came down cold. Drill complete. Results recorded. No one clapped. No one dared. Dana stood, readjusted her sling, and walked out without looking back. The red lights of the reflex bay dimmed behind her. 4 Marines sat in silence, wrecked not by force, but by clarity. By morning, the entire base had learned, control doesn't yell, it recalibrates. The tribunal was quiet. No legalese, no posturing, just Commander Tate, a folder, and the weight of facts. Across from him, Sergeant Dalton sat with a wrapped wrist and no excuses. Dana Collins sat at the far end, calm, unreadable. Tate read the findings aloud. Torque beyond protocol, fracture not survivable by brace alone. Then came the ruling. Dalton suspended, stripped of joint authority. Dana commended for tactical discipline under duress. She declined the praise. Just forward the next roster, she said. Tate gave a slow nod. You didn't just win. You redefined the line. She left the room in silence, but nothing stayed quiet for long. Abonniere den Kanal, schreib einen Kommentar und teile das Video. Outside the tribunal room, the air was sharper. Officers lingered near the benches, silent, not out of fear, but awareness. Dana passed without breaking stride. Two Marine instructors straightened reflexively. At the end of the corridor, Dalton sat alone, hands clasped, no defiance left. He didn't look up until she passed. "I didn't think it would snap like that," he muttered. She didn't stop. "You didn't think I'd keep going either." Commander Tate stood near the elevator. "You didn't just win," he said again. Dana's voice was quiet but final. "Discipline did." The elevator doors closed behind her, sealing the chapter shut. By sunrise, Fort Carson was quieter, not empty, just recalibrated. Boots moved with more purpose. Orders didn't need to be barked. Dana Collins walked the outer perimeter trail alone, posture exact, her sling a silent emblem. Those who passed her didn't salute. They stood straighter. Petty Officer Lauren caught up beside her. "They're quiet today," he said. Dana nodded. "They'll find their voices, maybe better ones." As he peeled off, Dana continued alone, passing Captain Brick waiting at the personnel gate. No words exchanged, none needed. Even those who hadn't seen the reflex bay knew something had changed, not in her, in everyone else. Inside the admin wing, two new candidates passed Dana in the hall. They didn't know the full story, yet. But they quieted, sensing the gravity that followed her. She stopped at the roster board, crossed off the morning module with one clean stroke. No speech, no announcement, just presence. Across base, conversations shifted, not toward gossip, but toward understanding. That discipline isn't silence. It's precision. That strength doesn't shout. It stands. One Marine whispered near the range, "She never even used the arm." Another replied, "She didn't need to." And somewhere deep in that base, respect changed sides without a single order being given. What Sergeant Dalton tried to break wasn't just Dana Collins's arm, it was her presence, her authority. But that plan failed the moment she stood without hesitation. This wasn't about revenge, it was about redefining the standard. One where control outlasts power, where calm dismantles aggression. Dana never raised her voice. She never fought with anger. She taught through restraint, and in doing so, she rewrote every protocol on what strength looks like. So ask yourself, would you keep going if someone shattered what you relied on most? Or would you recalibrate and let silence do the work? Some don't need both arms to win.